Welcome to the Burgundy and Gold Knuckleheads podcast. And my main man over there, Reggie, might have a little bit bigger smile on his face today with a win against the New England Patriots. What's going on, Reg?
What's up, Ken? Um, I guess, yeah, man. I mean, win's a win. We've not had very many, four to be exact. But we did it the Washington way. So, which is it's never easy. It's always going to come down to the end, and then we either going to win or lose. But today we came out on the winning side. But a win's a win, man. And we're gonna have to stack these W's together in order to turn the season around. But today we're gonna focus on the New England Patriots and how Washington went into Foxborough against the second winningest head coach in NFL history, Bill Belichick, and his vault defense.
Yeah. Washington, like I said, walked away with a win, 20-17 today. And 100%, I agree that a win is a win, but it just was kind of
Wasn't
it
pretty.
wasn't as exciting. I don't know what it was about it that wasn't as exciting. I wanted to win. I was rooting for him. When the final interception was made, I was cheering and everything. But it's like, oh, why can't we just? We just can't. Why can't we just put them away? We had the opportunity there to pick up that first down that Crowder came up short. And wasn't Crowder's fault, but the Crowder caught the pass and came up about a yard and a half short for the first down, and we punted, and we all just holding on, just holding on, man.
Well, even the drive before that, we had a chance to go down and get some points to pretty much seal the game. But again, that's not how we do it, man.
Right.
It's not in our DNA. That's not how we win.
No,
We don't win games
no.
going away. We don't blow people out. We
Right.
just barely win. And today was no different. I will agree that it seemed as if we played down to New England's level. So it was a game of two bad looking teams, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And somebody was going to have to win, and it was us. So very good. I will say I was pleased, as I said before, is that this team going forward, I'm going to just take a lot of my emotions out of. I'm always rooting for the team, but my emotion of getting up and down with the team when they don't do some of the things I want them to do and that type of thing. So I'm going to try to look at this from a fair perspective. And so two things that I really liked in this game today. For the second week in a row, the offensive line played well. And what I mean by that is Sam Howell had a total of 3 sacks today. But you didn't feel like the New England defensive front was just killing our offensive line. It was like it was 3 sacks, but it was within the flow of the game.
Right.
What we saw the previous few weeks, Sam was just getting killed every time he dropped back to pass or something.
He never had time.
Right. There was no time. There was pressure. The sacks was there. He was running for his life. He had today what I'm going to call an NFL sack, where at the end of the day, there was 3 sacks, but you didn't realize it was 3 sacks, right? It's like the line still seemed to have given him protection. They blocked and they played well. Not a lot of penalties on the O-line. So whatever change that they've done, whether it's scheme-wise, but certainly player-wise with the benching of Gates, bringing in Tyler Larson, and of course the injury to Sadiq Charles, he was replaced by Chris Paul. 2 weeks in a row, I gotta say the change has been nothing but positive.
Right.
And the second part of my takeaway from this game is the continual growth and the maturity that we're seeing out of Sam Howell. Right. I know everyone's going to talk about that interception he threw. I just have to believe there was something about the play because it looked weird. Like he just tossed it to the guy.
Yeah.
It's almost like he was throwing it to the New England Patriot player. So something happened on that play, I got to believe. But outside of that, man, we're seeing this guy continually grow and mature in front of our eyes. And as Ron said, I think we found our guy. At least that's my belief.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. Other than that, interception in the end zone. Another thing that I've noticed last week and then this week again also is has been a couple times, but Sam Howell seems to be understand and be comfortable in the right situation to throw the ball away. He's not holding it on that little bit longer, and he wants to hold on to it longer to make a play. It's a good and bad thing, right? He's
Right.
sometimes he's waiting too long, clearly, but he's doing it because he wants to make a play. His head is still in it. He's not in a panic mode. He's in a just give me an extra tenth of a second, and the guy will be open. And sometimes it's too late.
Right.
Speaking of Sam Howell, I'll just go over some quick stats of him. 29 of 45 for 325 yards. One touchdown. He had the one interception. And to your point, it looked the way he threw the ball very like almost like you just like if he had a 10-year-old son, that's how he would throw the ball. It was just a very easy kind of light throw. And when he released it, I'm like, oh, that's an easy touchdown. Just his motion was so light and smooth. And then all of a sudden intercepted. I'm like, what happened? What did he see or whatever? And I'm sure Sam will talk about that. Clearly 100% a mistake on Sam. And you live and learn. The running backs, I'm sorry. Washington had 29 carries today. 24 of them by the running back. Sam Howell had 5 runs. Sam Howell had the 24-yard run where we were 3rd and 24, and he had a little bit of Heineke magic in him or something, and took off running and bounced off of one and saw the marker and stepped over just long enough to pick up that first down. That was very, what we saw in Sam Howell the one game against Dallas last year, and it's what we're seeing in spots this year. Washington had a total of 432 yards of offense. Not too bad. Time of possession, I know they showed it during the game. At the end of the day, it was 37, basically 37 minutes to 22 minutes. Had an extra quarter, had an extra 15 minutes of the game. And if it wouldn't have been for that interception that should have turned into some points, whether it was 7 or 3, and then the very, very short field from the fumble that New England picked up 7. Washington would have been in control of the game. It's a woulda, coulda, shoulda, but you just turnovers matter in this league, and both of those turnovers resulted in points or not points at the point of where the fumbles happened. They didn't happen at the 50-yard line. You were getting ready to score, and then you were down at basically inside the red zone or at the red zone where we fumbled the ball. So,
And
then,
no doubt, man. No, go ahead, Ken.
Well, I was going to say, on the other side of the ball, I'll just throw this out real quick, and then I'll have a comment real quick. New England had 327 yards total. If you take away the 64-yard run, which is just one play, the rest of the game held them to 263 yards total offense. Running and passing, everything. So the defense, without our 2-star ends, didn't seem like it was a big difference. There was some steady, semi-steady pressure. You didn't get the one guy that might have been Sweat or Young that just breaks through and gets them, but they held up against the run. They put some semi-consistent pressure on the pass, and defensively, I don't know that we noticed a difference after week 1.
Yeah, no. The first game post the trade. Yeah, you can't say that it was bad. I will say, at first you go, our defense played a terrible offense. And if you want to explain away how our defense was able to, for the most part, have a decent game against New England, it's easy to say, well, New England wasn't a good offense.
Sure.
My take to that, because that's your quick initial reaction to it, right? But I'm going to say we played some offenses early in the year where statistically they were not very good, and they came in, or we went to them and they kicked our butt.
Yep.
So if you want to, if if you don't want to give us credit or explain away the defense in the early game, then don't use that same excuse in this game, because New England was a bad offense, and our defense could have easily allowed them to make some big plays and do all of these things that our defense was doing early in the week, early in the season, and that didn't happen today. Now that 64-yard touchdown run was bad. They showed it on the screen where we tried to do that, what they call that dog, where those guys are crossing over there, and one of our guys got caught, and it just opened up a big hole. Um, it is what it is. But for the most part, man, our defense played well. We got to see quite a bit of Emmanuel Forbes. I don't know if it was a design play calling to kind of target him a little bit, or if it
Right.
was just that as their offense flowed, they were throwing the ball, and Emmanuel Forbes just happened to be the defender on that receiver. I don't know, but nonetheless, we saw him involved in a lot of plays today, which was great to see. And we talked about it at the bar today as we were all watching the game. You see him getting up, making plays, and doing some things, and he's still, for lack of a better word, going to say he was showboating, right? And I made the comment, and I stand by this because I've not given up on not Sam Howell, Emmanuel Forbes. I said that a lot of people was worried about his confidence, and the fact that he was getting up, still celebrating a play that he just made, showed me that the confidence is still there. So I was glad to see that, because after getting beat by uh, the kid from Chicago and the Philadelphia receiver AJ Brown, then he's getting benched, then he doesn't play for a few weeks and all those things. There was one or two ways this is going to go,
Right.
but it looks like he's had the right mindset. He's continued to work at it, and he got to play today. And for anyone that want to say, well, he wasn't playing any receiver, well, you could have made that argument in the previous weeks as well, and it didn't matter. So he played who he played, and he did what he needed to do. And I just think that this will be a growing year for Emmanuel Forbes, and I think, man, we're going to see a different player next season.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'm definitely hopeful of that. One player didn't make as big of an impact this week as he did a week or two ago, but I wanted to kind of, as I was looking through my notes and looking at different things, kind of an unsung player that was brought in. Was it during the season or right before the first game? Is Crowder. Crowder has. I've got no problems back there in punt coverage. He's consistently getting 5 to 10 yards on a punt return. And it might not sound like a lot, but when you're catching the ball sometimes at the 12-yard line, there's a big difference between dancing around at the 12 and getting tackled there and making it to the 24-yard line.
right.
Big difference of even flipping the field, right? You pick up a first down, and then you have to punt, and you're not putting yourself behind the ball. He's also, the last couple of weeks, has contributed on some catches. He's in the offense, and today he had 4 catches, only for 23 yards, but he's making an impact for somebody that we brought in at the end. And some people were saying, well, he's kind of a little bit older and everything. He's been a very good role player for this team since he's joined on, and I just kind of wanted to point that out.
No, I would agree. I think Crowder has arguably been the best signing this offseason from a player perspective.
Yeah.
Outside the draft in terms of bringing on free agent. And the free agent would be Nick Gates, Wiley, Crowder, to name a few. And yeah, I think by far Crowder has been a pleasant surprise in terms of an addition to this team. And yeah, man, I mean, with Curtis Samuel being injured the past 2 weeks, Crowder's gotten some snaps, man, and he's made the most of it. And I gotta believe, whether he's brought back next season or something, he's probably earned some playing time with somebody.
Oh yeah,
He's got some snaps, and someone is out there saying, "Man, Crowder still can play," and I think he'll be given an opportunity, whether that's in Washington or someplace else next season, because
yeah.
he was not in the league, or he was not signed prior to coming to Washington this year.
Yeah. No, he was cut by the Jets. He was with the Jets and got cut by the Jets late in I think the last cut, and that's when Washington brought him in. So, yeah, I don't know how many of the teams were knocking at the door, but here we've had so much problem with punt return for several years, of nothing happening. Just catch it, dance around, and get tackled, or bobble the ball and something bad happens. So I don't want to jinx the world, but right now I don't have any concerns about Crowder. If anything, I expect there's potential that he could do something on every single punt. He's not the Crowder of 22 years old and have these lightning quick moves, but he's got the experience and craftiness to get the job done, and experience to find the holes and get upfield.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
go ahead, go.
I was just going to point out we got to see a lot of the youth playing this week in this game. We saw KJ Henry, and of course Emmanuel Forbes. We saw Quan Martin play, and I gotta say I've seen the play many times since we watched it. That sack by KJ Henry, where they called it roughing the passer, was BS, man. And I don't care how many times I've looked at it from different angles, trying to understand where the league is trying to protect quarterback, where they're supposed to alligator roll and all this kind of stuff. Come on, man. There was nothing about roughing the passer there. He didn't. It wasn't helmet to helmet. It was almost chest to shoulder, and down they went. And I can't help how Mac Jones fall,
Right.
but you can't blame the defender and call that roughing the passer, man. That was a terrible, terrible, terrible call. And the NFL has got to do something, man. Listen, some of this is just football. Okay, I understand you're trying to take some of these plays out, right? The horse collar. I forgot what they call that one where you grab the guy from the back and you swing your legs around, where Tony Pollard got injured last year. Some of those plays, absolutely, you take them out. But that play with KJ Henry and Mac Jones, that was just a flat out football play, man.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah.
bad, terrible call.
Yeah, and I think that's not a play that is reviewable, but I think if it could have been reviewed, they may have looked at that and turned that over. Washington was on the short end. I mean, we normally don't complain about penalties. Maybe one game a year do we bring up penalties, but Terry was clearly pushed on that one down, the long shot that Sam Howell threw to Terry down on the end zone, and even the one that Forbes kind of stepped in front of and had an opportunity at an interception. He was tackled by the
offensive pass
receiver.
interference.
Could have been offensive pass interference on that. So I mean, there was 3 calls right there that 2 should have been in our favor, and I didn't think that they were that close. It was somewhat easy calls to make, and then the bad call on the roughing the passer there. So a lot of times those will end up evening out. You watch, and then later on in the game, you're like, okay, we got away with one there. I never saw one where we got away with it. Maybe it was
Just one.
It was there and we didn't see it. Which one was that?
It was the one toward the end of the game where they punted the ball, and our guy was sprinting down, and they called holding or something on New England special teams guy.
Okay.
And I think if I recall, I think that's the one that pushed them back.
Yeah. That was, they would have gotten the ball at the 20, instead they got it at the 10. Yeah.
Something real weird like that. Yeah. And that was one where I looked to go, I don't know where he was holding the guy. He grabbed him, but I don't know if it was holding.
Right.
For what they called it on. But for the most part, man, it is what it is. But
it is.
That KJ Henry, man, for that kid the rookie to not be able to get his first sack, I thought that was a BS call by the official.
And especially when that's your first shot at it, when he gets his next shot, is he a little bit less aggressive that last step and a half, which a lot of times there's the difference between the quarterback getting the ball away and being sacked is such a fraction of a second. So will he not get the sack next time because he's just a pinch less aggressive on how it's built up. So I don't know. Time will tell. But I agree. That was that was a bad call. We're going to go to two-hand touch on the quarterback after this if it keeps it up.
Terrible call.
What else you got on this post game? Anything in particular?
No, not really, man. It was like I said, it was a game I think Washington needed after the big trade. You got to believe that affects the locker room a little bit. Anything leading up to a trade deadline, some players not know if they're going to be there or not be there, and then you do trade away some players. There's been a change in the dynamic in the locker room. Some guys are being stepped up, and so to kind of get that first game under the belt, and in this case, come out with a win, I think will go a long way. But we'll see. We have a tough game next week as we have to travel west to play Seattle, and we'll see if we'll be able to put another game, a third consecutive good game together. But I think it was a good win for Washington against New England. I understand again, offensively they're not very good, but Bill Belichick still has a pretty good defense. And for Sam to put up the yardage and the numbers that he did today, from a statistic standpoint, was probably good. Man, it was good for everybody. I think it was just one of those good, solid wins. It was ugly, as you said, as we start this podcast, but it was a win, and we'll take it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was necessarily ugly. It just didn't. I don't know. It just didn't have that. I don't know that feel of just things clicking and things going. We definitely had some moments where the ball was moving and it would stall or whatever. But we'll see how it goes. To your point, we play Seattle next week. That'll be for those on the East Coast, that'll be a 4 o'clock game, or 4:25, I guess is the actual kickoff. And so get your chores done and everything in the morning. Whether you this time of year you're raking leaves, or mowing the grass or whatever it is, depending on again your climate. You get the morning to do some chores before you settle down and get your wings and your adult beverage and whatever it is you snack on and get ready for the game against Seattle. And
Yes.
we will have a pregame here midweek. And talk about that game and try to extend a winning streak, right? If Washington has, I think a lot of us fans are skeptical that they are a playoff contending team, as Ron likes to talk, but you're a playoff contending team when you put winning streaks together, and so we'll see what happens. A little bit better team in Seattle than what we played this week, I think. And so again, another test and see what how we come out and see how the season plays out.
Absolutely, man. Looking forward to it. Victory Monday, once again.
I like it. And until next time, peace out, Knuckleheads.
Peace out, y'all.